Hello everyone, welcome to Python Coding with Anish. First of all, I am very glad that many of you are learning Python through my videos. So talking about the agenda of present class, last class we have discussed that we'll be talking about each data type separately in a separate video. So in present video, we'll be talking about string data type. So we'll be talking about what is Unicode, and after that we'll be talking about how many ways we can create a string literal in Python, and then we'll talk about how could we print string literal. After that we'll be talking about a few string methods. There are many string methods, but we'll be talking about few string methods which are most important string methods. After that we'll be talking about an important string property, and then we'll be talking about membership operator. This is also one of the very important operator in Python. And then after, in the end, we'll be talking about comparison operation and operator on string. Unicode is nothing but codifying different letters or different characters of different languages of the world. Why do we need to do that? We need to do that because we very well understand that computer only understand binary number system, which is what? Which is language of 0 and 1. 0 and 1. So decimal number system like 10, like 20, like 100 or anything can easily be converted into binary number system, which computer understand. But what about characters like A? What about characters like B? Or Hindi characters like E? Or characters, Urdu characters? What about that? How do we convert those characters into binary number system? So the solution was Unicode. What have we done in Unicode? We have given a decimal value like 97, like 2310 to different characters. Now these numbers can easily be converted into binary number system. So this is the whole purpose of Unicode or ASCII, giving a unique number to different characters of the different languages of the world. Now let us talk about two different methods in Python using which we could get Unicode of a character, or we could get character from a Unicode number. So this function ORD, this method ORD tells you what? It gives you the Unicode from a character. You execute this and you'll get 2310. To 2310 is what? It's a Unicode of which character? Of A, the Hindi character A. Now if I want to get the Unicode of A and execute this, so Unicode of A is 97 or ASCII of A is 97. Don't ever confuse between ASCII and Unicode. Both does the same function. Both are what? Both are an international system where we do what? Where we give a unique number to different characters of the world. Okay, now let us see, what if I want to know the reverse? What if I want to know the character of Unicode? In that case, we will use function what? We'll use function chr. For example, as I have already shown, if I want to know the character of Unicode 2310 and then execute what we use to execute, alt plus enter or control plus enter. You can do anything to execute any command in Jupyter Notebook. So 2310 is a Unicode of A. What if I want to know the character of a Unicode 100? So it's D. Now let us move further. We have completed this. Now let us move further and understand how do we create a string literal in Python. First, we'll create a string using single quote. My name is Anish. This is what? This is creating a string using single quote. Let us execute this. Let us try to print a name. So this is my string with a single quote. The second way using which we can create a string is using double quote. Suppose I am using a variable a name, and this time we will use double quote and we'll write the same thing. My name is Anish. Let us execute this and let us print this a name. My name is Anish. We could also create a string using triple quote. This time I love coding, and we'll execute this. Let us print this time a. So I love coding. This is so that these were the three different ways through which you could create a string literal in Python. Now an important question which arises: if we could create a string literal using single quote, then what was the use of using double quote and triple quote? Let us understand why we have to use double quote and single quote. For example, suppose if I have to write Mayank's favorite language is Python. Now I want to create string from this statement. How could we do that? We very well know that we could create a string in Python using single quote. Now if we will wrap this statement using single quote and we'll try to assign it to a variable, string variable, and if we will try to execute this, it will throw an error. Why is it throwing an error? It is throwing an error because Python could not understand which one of these, this code and this code, which one of these, this code, which one of these code is closing code for this opening code. It's very much confusing. So in order to solve this problem, whenever we encounter a single quote in a statement, instead of using single opening and closing quote, we use double quote. And now if we will execute this, it will not give us an error, and we could very well print this. Okay, what if we want to create a string literal using statement this: honesty is the best policy. After that, we must be honest towards our job. It is very much obvious that if we will use double quote around this, and if we will try to assign it to a variable, and if we are trying to execute this, it will show us an error. So in order to solve such problems, we will use triple quote to wrap this whole statement. Now it will not show us an error. Now we could print this a name. So what have we discussed? We have discussed that we could create a string literal using single quote, double quote and triple quote. Fourth way as well to create a string. It create an string object using any argument. Suppose I'm passing an argument Anish. By passing an argument to str class, we could also create an string object. Let us execute this, and now if I'll print this a name, it is what it is displaying as this string Anish. We could also confirm this using what? Using type method that we have discussed before to see the type of this variable a name. It will show us what? It will show us string. Now what we have done, we have understood what is Unicode, and we have also understood three different ways, or rather four different ways through which we could create string literal in Python. Now let us discuss how we could print string literal, a string using print method. It is very simple, and we have already discussed that print method can be used to display output to user. A variable of string data type. Let us write down here Python, Java, C, C sharp, C sharp. These are what? These are what? These are different languages. Will execute this. And now if I want to print this variable, we can use print method. Print the different languages are, then after that comma, and then after that this variable language, and then we'll execute it using alt enter or control enter. So we got what? The different languages are Python, Java, C and C++, C sharp. What len method actually does, it calculates total length of a string including space. Now for example, suppose I want to calculate length of string Python and then execute it. It is giving out what? It is giving out 6. If we'll try to include any space into it, Python, then a space, it will also consider a space into length. If I'll execute this, it will give us 11 because it is considering a space as well. A variable, string variable, Python will execute this. Now if I use this string and then if I give dot and then I hit tab, then it will do what? It will show us list of all the different methods associated with this data type. And I want you to practice all these different data types. It's very much important for you to practice different methods and associated with data type. To be honest, I can teach you only 30% of Python. Any tutor can teach you not more than 30% of Python. Remaining you need to practice in order to understand more, in order to gain more.